What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Patrick. Today we are getting into kind of a new hobby that I've been interested in a very long time. It's been something that I've been looking to get into, but haven't had the resources to make it happen. But luckily, a company was fortunate enough to help me get started in this endeavor. So we're going to be unboxing the product that I acquired. It is a Bitcoin miner. As my phone goes off, Bitcoin miner. This is a new R-Box, and it is from a company called RockMiner, and they are based out of China. This is their new R-Box. They've got a couple different versions. That's their RockMiner logo, and this is a Bitcoin mining machine. Now, if you're new into Bitcoin and other things like that, I am too. By no means am I an expert. I'm very new. You know, this is my first Bitcoin experience. So there's a lot of questions that I have, and I'm sure there's a lot of questions that you might have. You know, what is Bitcoin? You know, why Bitcoin? Where did it come from? Why this, you know, huge Bitcoin craze over the past couple of years? And we're going to get into that. Believe me, we're going to get into that. I'm just doing a quick unboxing of this miner today. I am going to start doing a mini series here of, you know, how to get started, how to get some software together, how to mine, how to get a Bitcoin wallet, how Bitcoin works, what is Bitcoin. I probably won't touch too much on that in this video, but there will be videos coming up that will get us all into Bitcoin mining. So this is the new R-Box from RockMiner. Let's open it up and take a look. I already took the plastic off of it, but then my cat got in the video. It's a really well sealed box. There we go. Nothing on the top. Pretty well packaged. I was very impressed with it. Got a whole bunch of foam that's in here. Let me take this off. All of it's very nice and tightly packed. Did come in its own shipping box. RockMiner, for example, there's a lot of companies, RockMiner, KNC, Mining. A lot of them, there's such a demand for these machines that they can't keep up with demand. And a lot of them, like RockMiner and KNC and a couple other companies, you can go to their websites, you can't even find them on their websites because the demand for these are so great. You can find them at electronic stores, and there's, you know, a ton of different third parties out there that are the you know, online store for these. I got this through Amazon as I get everything. But it's not, you can't obtain these normally from the actual manufacturer because there's such a huge demand. And nowadays there's, you know, huge warehouses and shipping containers that are full of really high class miners like this, and you can do cloud Bitcoin mining and pay X amount of dollars a day for X amount of Bitcoin mining power, which we'll talk about in a second, and you can rent your own miner, pay a subscription cost, and use their equipment that's, you know, halfway on the other side of the world to do your mining. So in the box we've got a couple cables. This here is a pretty short micro USB cable. It's got, you know, it's maybe like a foot long or something like that. On this side we've got, it's not micro, it's mini USB. Micro is our Android chargers, which is a little bit flatter than this. It's actually mini USB, and this is our USB 2.0 end. Another cable in the box. I don't know if this is a mistake in packaging, but there is another of the exact same cable, mini USB, in there. In here we've got this mismatched cord. It is a 6-pin Molex, maybe for like high-powered graphics cards, other things like that. You'll find it on a computer power supply. But if you don't have a spare computer power supply, you can use one of these. It has 3 red contacts, 3 black contacts, positive, negative, to connect to a breakout board or some other power supply unit to power this device. I'm going to get into that in a second. So here is the R-Box itself. Small little box. Here's their logo again with the same information that they had on the packaging. On the side here you can kind of see into the innards of it. It's kind of a single standing up blade miner, as many of them are. So you got some heat sinks in here. And then on this side, we've got two 40mm fans that are going to pull air into it because these machines get very, very hot and they generate a lot of heat. And this will pull air in and exhaust it out the back. We've also got that nice little Bitcoin logo that's on the front of the box there. That's kind of nice. This box is not huge. I mean, it's probably like 3-4 inches deep by, you know, maybe, I don't know, a foot and a half in either direction. So it's pretty small. It's actually smaller than I thought it was going to be. And then on the side here, we've got a couple connections. I'll actually flip it around so it is the right way. Over here, we've got our mini USB that they provide the cable for. We've got two status lights. One is power and one is called status. And that only blinks blue when you are actually in the process of mining Bitcoin. And then all the way on this side over here is that 4-pin 12-volt Molex connector that they give you because here's why. These miners come in a lot of different sizes. They've got ones that will take up my whole office that are just massive, and you know require some very serious dedicated electrical work. There are also very, very small ones that are smaller than this that are, you know, can fit in the palm of your hand, and they will mine Bitcoin. You can even use a Raspberry Pi, a little, you know, teeny tiny credit card sized computer to mine for Bitcoin. But you know, obviously the bigger the technology, the more horsepower you will get out of it, and the faster you can mine Bitcoin. Way back in the day, a little history lesson. Bitcoin mining's been around since the early 2000s, and people used to mine Bitcoin just on their computers, use their CPUs. But that wasn't entirely effective, and it was soon found out that GPUs, graphics cards, were much better and faster for this. So then people would build dedicated machines, you know, without monitors and without, you know, disk drives and fan selectors and other things like that, with just a crap ton of graphics cards in there to crunch these numbers. That is what these Bitcoin machines do. And then you could only go so far with graphics cards, so then they built these boxes, which use an even higher end graphics card. I mean, the graphics card processor machine that is in here could kick any graphics card's ass all day long. The brand new NVIDIA Titan X graphics card, this is 500 times more powerful than that, because this is very specifically designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is mine Bitcoin. So this is some pretty interesting technology. It's not worth anything else. I mean, it only has a couple connectors up here. It does nothing but mine Bitcoin 24/7, 365 all day long. So that's kind of the history of it. Now we have these ASIC miners, and I think I mentioned that in here that this is a ASIC miner. ASIC stands for Application Specific something computer. ASIC. I swore to gosh I remembered it. I'll have to look that up real quick. ASIC is Application Specific something. Yes, Application Specific Integrated Circuit is what it is. And this RockMiner, they mine at different speeds. This one requires at least 100 watts of power. We're going to get into that in a second. But depending on the size of the equipment, these will mine for Bitcoin at different speeds. This one mines for Bitcoin at between 100 and 110 gigahash per second. Just like, you know, transfer speeds on a flash drive are in megabits per second or gigabits per second. Megahash or gigahash or terahash or petahash is what Bitcoin mining is measured in. It's how fast can you solve the puzzle to get yourself some Bitcoins. So by no means am I an expert. Obviously, I haven't even plugged this thing in, so I'm, you know, who knows if I can even get it working. But over the next couple of weeks here, we're going to be doing a couple of videos on it. We're all going to be experts at Bitcoin by the time it is done. So you notice it just has this for a power supply, so it has to use its own power supply. There are smaller ones that fit in the palm of your hand, or, you know, half the size of this, that they come with their own, you know, special power supply, and that's nice, and they're obviously much easier to set up. This uses its own power supply, and so I will rotate the camera ever so slightly over here to the corner. Back here you can see I've got an old computer supply over here. computer power supply. It's an ATX power supply. It's just 500 watts. Something that used to be in an old computer, and I will plug this into it, and it will get plugged in and all that good stuff, and then we can mine for Bitcoin with it. So it does not come with its own power supply. If you buy one of these, acquire one of these like I did, you have to have something to power it. That's why they include this cable. Now I have my own power supply. If you didn't have your own, you had some sort of breakout board or extra power supply unit, you could hook up your own, which is why they include this cable. Old power supplies work. There is a trick though, and I will mention this. I acquired one of these and I totally didn't know about this. For a power supply, it has a big, I'm not going to zoom in on it, it has a big 24 port connector that plugs into your motherboard, and that powers your motherboard and everything that's connected to it through this computer power supply. If nothing's plugged into that, it won't turn on. So, for example, if I try to turn this on right now, it won't turn on because that big 24 pin, it's like a 24 pin version of this. It's 4 of these wide. If I try to turn it on, it won't because it's not connected to a motherboard on a computer. Now, there's a way to trick that. And we're going to do that in a later video. It is kind of sketchy. There are special connectors that you can connect to it. You can buy for a couple bucks that will trick the power supply into thinking that it's plugged into a computer and will start. And that's what I've done here. There are 24 pins on the power supply that needs to be plugged into the motherboard. There's a lot of different, there's a whole mesh of connectors down here. The 4th pin, the green wire, and the 6th pin, which is a black wire. There's a lot of black wires in a power supply, but there's only one green wire. Kind of like diffusing a bomb or something like that. You want the green wire and you want the black wire. Pin number 4 and pin number 6. If you take a little paper clip, and I've done this, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do this. Just spend a couple bucks and get the little, if they're called a power supply trick pin, or they're called power supply start bridges. But if you don't want to invest a couple bucks in that, you can take a paper clip and bridge the 2 pins, the 4th pin and the 6th pin, and it will trick the power supply into thinking that it's plugged into a motherboard, and you'll be able to turn it on. But warning, do not go doing that if you don't know what you're doing, because if just sticking a paper clip in a power supply is a really, really bad idea, and you could get really hurt. So only do it if you know what you're doing. So you plug this in, and that's cool. I can now turn on my Bitcoin miner, but it doesn't have like a display. You can't hook it up to anything. It doesn't have like a HDMI out or something like that. So how the heck do I connect to it? Good question, Pat. I'm glad you asked that. Over here, I've got a Raspberry Pi. Now this Raspberry Pi is just one of the older B models, but it's what they recommend. You can even use this for Bitcoin mining, but obviously it's not, it's not specific. That machine can do up to 110 gigahash per second. This does like 30 mega hash, only a very small fraction of what that can do, because this is not built for Bitcoin mining. You can mine Bitcoins with one of these if you're just looking to get started, but that is millions of times better than this. So little Raspberry Pi, we're going to hook this up. Now it's going to be in a later video. I'm just kind of teasing that right now. You can hook this up using special software on RockMiner's website. Little SD card. You load the specific software on there, turn it on, connect it to the internet, and then you can use this as a little server to then connect to the RockMiner. For example, we plug our power in, and then the only other connection that RockMiner has is this mini USB cable. So I'd connect the mini USB to the RockMiner. I'd connect it to one of the USB ports that's on here, like so. It's connected to the RockMiner over there. We connect it to the internet, and then I can go to a special web page that's on my network, and I can see what the RockMiner is doing. and I can keep an eye on it, and I can, you know, configure it to do what I need to do, which is for mining for Bitcoin. So this is kind of an involved process. You'll need a spare computer or something like that for this. You don't want to run it on your main battle station or anything like that. That's not the best idea. So you'll probably need a spare computer. You'll need a Bitcoin miner, obviously, and you'll need some way to power it. Now, if you get the small ones, there are small ones that are like less than $100. There are Bitcoin miners that are many thousands of dollars. But you know, this is just kind of an entry level one for those that are really trying to get into Bitcoin. This is kind of a middle of the road. I think it retails for like 150 something, but you can get them online for close to 100. So you need a computer to be able to allow us to see what the Bitcoin miner is doing. You need a power supply, unless you get one of the really small ones, and they normally come with their own. So you need to power it. And then you need to have an internet connection or something like that to be able to use the computer Raspberry Pi like we're doing, to be able to connect to it and see what it's doing and configure it and all that good stuff. You'll also need a Bitcoin wallet, because once you start getting Bitcoins, you'll need a place to put them. And then, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. But today I just wanted to talk about the new R-Box, and that this is an ASIC application-specific miner. Its job is to mine Bitcoin 24/7, 365. And I'm going to plug it in, and I'm going to take a look at it, and I'll let you know. Maybe it's going to be like horribly loud and just heat this room up. This room is already pretty warm that's in here with you know, all the computers that I have running in here now. So we'll see. I think we've got a long way to go, but I think we have the right equipment finally to start getting into Bitcoin mining. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to have a video coming up that I'll do, probably a little screen share video like I do with the Tech Talks, as to how do you get into Bitcoin mining, what is Bitcoin mining, you know, how do I get involved, why do I get involved, is it worth it, or is it, you know, just one of those fads or scams or other things like that, you know, you invest a whole bunch of money in and never even come close to recouping such money. So we're going to talk about all of that in the coming weeks. I'll do a little mini series on that. So as usual, guys, like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Questions or comments about this thing? I am not an expert, once again, like the third time, not an expert at this. I know almost nothing about Bitcoin, and I've done tons of research on it, and I feel like I still know nothing. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer them to the best of my ability, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Happy mining.